We are the Gratitude Girls.
Hello, good morning, good afternoon, good evening. Rah is in the house from Toronto, Ontario, Canada. How are you, Laurie?
I'm awesome. How are you?
I'm great. Oh my gosh, I have something to tell you. First of all, let's tell our audience, where are we tuning in from? We are tuning in from. I'm sitting here in Toronto, Ontario, Canada as of an hour ago. Laurie, where are you tonight?
I am in Nashville, Tennessee.
Awesome. Yes, you know, we are a mobile world, and we know that we can do anything from anywhere. But today I discovered I can do the Gratitude Girl show from anywhere in the world, and I wanted to do it from the car because we drove in from Ottawa. But how would that look if I were in the car and there were no light, or I had the light on above my head while my husband was driving? So what I discovered tonight is I am going to figure out a way to do our show by my phone in the car. That's my next task of how I can do that. Because we could travel the world, we can get on a plane, we can get on a train, a boat, but we haven't done that from a car yet. So yeah, that's my task. So I'm really happy to be here, happy to be sitting down and not on four wheels driving at this moment. We did a long drive to be with friends and have meetings. And you know, you go all over the place, Laurie, to see people. So you know what that's like. Where have you been lately?
I haven't been anywhere lately since my trip in Dallas in January, but the rest of the year is like so booked. I've got 2 to 3 trips every month. Next month, actually, I will be doing our show from Montego Bay.
Oh, that's terrible, Laurie. That is so terrible. My goodness, I don't know where I'm going to be when you what I'll be wearing, but it won't be a bathing suit. Montego Bay is awesome. Lucky you. Okay, so we have some traveling gigs ourselves as well, and we'll be together, of course. In the summer, we'll be together, and who knows what's going to happen. Did we decide on June? I'm not too sure.
I'm still not sure on that because I haven't decided if I'm going to Ireland or if I'm going to Houston and Dallas again.
Okay, once you decide, you know what we'll do when we're together, we'll do an impromptu show. We'll just do wherever we're at, and we'll add that to the roster so we can do, you know, Gratitude Girls. I don't know how it sounds, but on the go.
Right, yeah.
Right? So that way we can just say, this is where we are today. And yeah, awesome. So I'm really excited for what we have, both of us together and individually. Our main mission is to travel the world and share gratitude. And since we started our show, which is what I was hoping you would talk about, since we started our show, we definitely have been collecting miles, frequent flyer miles. Somehow we want to do this in the air. That was it. Our feet are on the ground, but we want to do it flying high. Laurie, would you be kind enough to share with our audience, like, what is this? To our audience who's tuning in right now for the very first time, here to see our guest tonight and to hear what we have to say. What is the Gratitude Girls all about? Why are we here doing this, talking about gratitude?
Yep. So Catherine and I actually met on stage a little bit over 6 years ago. So Catherine and I are both in a greeting card company that is a direct sales network marketing company, and we are actually cross-lined to each other. And each year the company has a theme for the year. And then at the company convention, they have one person that they award for that theme. So back in 2013, the theme was gratitude. And so every year previous and every year after that, it's always been one person that wins this award. And in 2013, our CEO announced Catherine, said lots of cool things about her, and then called her up on stage. And I was busy taking pictures and videoing and all that kind of stuff. And then he said that this year we're making a change and there's a tie. And so our CEO doesn't pick it. It's from all the field, from customers and distributors and everybody. So there's about 700,000 people that choose, that turn in who they would like to pick or whatever. And so then he ended up announcing my name. So Catherine and I actually met on stage in Salt Lake City, and when we achieved this award together. And so when we were on stage, it was just like, kind of like, when, like they say, when you're dating someone and it's that love at first sight, you just know it. So that's kind of like how we were, but it was like love at first sight in business and friends and gratitude. And just literally like 2 to 3 minutes, we had Gratitude Girls was born, and we had set up our business, our nonprofit, and we've been doing it now for over 6 years.
It's so nice to hear you say that, Laurie. I say this every month. I relive that moment. It becomes a moment that I'm in right now. You bring me right back to when my knees were shaking. It was part of my I am statements. And there you were. And I had so admired you. I'd read so many wonderful things about you and what you've done and how you were the person in our company who had sent the most gifts. And I thought, what a generous person. Oh my goodness. And how is that possible to send the most of anyone? And it was something that stuck in my mind. And I had always wanted to meet you. So part of what I was manifesting, because you and I both believe in that, is I wanted to be with you somehow. And, I didn't think small, I thought big. And that was big. That was, wow, I'm going to get to meet Laurie. After I got over the initial knee shaking, knocking business of that was me that was walking up on stage, it was so much about how I was listening to you. I remember listening to your story. Excuse me. I remember knowing your story and then hearing you. And it was this instant electric connection that you could call all kinds of things. You can call it a synergy between us. You could call it a strong connection. You could call it something that was truly meant to be, because I felt that right away. And I knew that we were not going to stand up on stage and walk away. And Laurie, we've been on stage with people and wonderful people and shaken hands and hugged and kissed, but not done what you and I have done. You and I decided that this was the beginning of something we were not going to let slip through our fingers. So I am forever grateful for Cody Bateman, for giving us that opportunity, and to you and I for being so open at a time that we were probably in a little bit of shock at that moment, but yet we were open. Our doors, our pathways were ready. It's been an amazing, amazing journey for us so far. And right from the spot, right on that spot, we wanted to travel and listen to people's stories and give them a platform to share. And that's what we do. So to the audience that's listening tonight, this show is not about us. This show is we're giving you some history, but this show is about our guests and our past guests, our present guests for sure, and obviously our future guests. It's about gratitude. Laurie, I'd like to take this opportunity to say thank you to you and to bring our guest on, because this is really how it all happens. There are things that go on in our life, and I have this connection with our guests, and I would like our guests to talk about it. First of all, I'd like to introduce and give a round of applause to Sandy Rutherford. Sandy, so much. I'm so grateful to you. Thank you so much for being with us tonight.
Right back at you. And Laurie, thank you so much for inviting me on. I've been looking forward for this to this evening for days, actually probably a couple of weeks now. So I'm absolutely delighted to be here and can't wait to just share.
Thank you. So Sandy, let's give a little bit of background to our audience. Let's talk about the, no pun intended, the wow moment when we met.
Well, you and I met at a WOW event, women, what's it called? Women of Wisdom event. And that's where you and I met. And it's funny, you were just talking about you and Laurie connecting. And from my world, I talk about being on the same frequency, because everything in this universe is energy. And if everything's energy, everything's vibrating, and everything has to vibrate on frequencies. So when you connect with someone, you're on the same frequency. You're literally on that frequency. So it was really nice hearing about how you and Laurie connected in such a powerful way. And it is powerful when you are on that exact frequency. And that's how you and I think, at that WOW meeting, you and I just kind of zeroed in on each other and connected and knew well, I got to work with you. I got to do something with you. This is so cool. So that's it was a terrific, and it wasn't that long ago. That was, when was that? I think that was before Christmas. So it's only been like 4 months, 5 months maybe.
Yes, yes,
and look what happened since then.
Look at what's it developed. It's wisdom of women. So we were
wisdom of wisdom, right?
Wisdom of women. We were in King City, and we had that feeling as well, that instant feeling. And at the end of the meeting, when you came up to talk to me, we had something. We made an instant connection, and we made a plan. We took an action. I invited you to my BNI meeting, and we went right into action of getting that done. And that's what our connection was about. It was instantly having something else for us to do.
And it keeps happening. As I was at a BNI meeting of yours last week, and I remember I came up to you afterwards and said, we're doing something else together, right? It's just that feeling is very strong, which is fabulous. That's how things happen.
Absolutely. And it was such a pleasure to meet you. And like you said, I guess it was last year, right? So we can say it was last year that we met. And since then, we have been making continuous plans to do things. So let's talk a little bit about Sandy, you. Tell me a little bit about what is a day in the life of today. Let's talk about today. What happened to you today?
Well, so first of all, I'm a success coach, and I work with legendary Bob Proctor. So the first part of my day is always studying. I get up around 5:30. I do gratitude right out of the gate. That's usually about 20 minutes, and then I move into about almost an hour and a half of study in the material that has made such a difference in Bob's lives and life, and so many, like millions of lives around the world. It's such a privilege to be working in this whole arena of personal and professional development, really understanding who you are. So, as Bob likes to say, if you want to succeed, it all starts with understanding who you are. It has to start with who you are. So a big part of my day starts, or an important part of my day starts with this kind of studying in this material of understanding more and more of who I am, what I'm capable of, how much talent and potential I do have. And that's the beginning of my day. So it's a great way to start the day. When you start the day with that kind of studying and gratitude, you raise your vibration, which is great. Most days I do a Facebook Live for 5 minutes, less than 5 minutes, at 8 a.m. So I get ready and do a Facebook Live. And then I have a couple of sales calls, and then I do some outreach myself, and then I have coaching calls going on. I have networking events. I try to get out a lot during the week, just meeting people. And I have webinars that I do for clients. And seminars that I'm doing for the public. So every day is a little bit different depending on what kind of external activities are going on.
Wow, that's great, getting up early. Tell me a little bit about what you do for you.
You mean when I'm not working?
Okay, yeah, sure.
Well, it's interesting because in the line of work that I do, it doesn't feel like work. So the fact that I'm studying is actually just empowering. So that is what I do for me in to a great extent. But I also love, I've got a fabulous family that my kids are now pretty well 22, 20, and 18. They're all about to have their birthdays. And so 2 of them are away at university, and they've come back on weekends, and I love spending time with my kids. We do fun stuff together, and I try to work out 3-4 times a week, which I did a couple hours before coming on tonight. Went for a workout. So those are the kinds of things. I have a cottage that's up in Haliburton, which is about 3 hours north of Toronto. That is my happy place. As soon as I get in the car to drive up there, this relaxation takes over. So there's a few things like that I do. Yeah.
That's awesome about Haliburton. We have some really fun people I'm going to connect you with up there. Where about in Haliburton?
Right outside the town of Haliburton Village, or the village of Haliburton. Right outside it, about 10 minutes.
Okay, awesome. Well, Rita, if you're watching, I'm going to connect you to Sandy. So Sandy, remind me to connect you to Rita. Okay, that's someone I think you're going to love chatting with her. So I also know that you have fur babies.
I do have fur babies.
Can you tell us a little bit about that? Because anyone who has a fur baby wants to hear about that.
I have two fabulous fur babies, and they're both asleep on the floor by my feet here. I have a 11-year-old shug. That's a shepherd crossed with a pug. Now, okay, anybody I say that to immediately goes, "Which one was the mother?" The pug was the mother. Oh, okay.
Wow.
So she's mid-sized. She looks pretty shepherdish in her coloring and her look. Her face is softened though. It's not quite the sharp pointy of the shepherd. It's been softened by the pug influence, and she's got ears that kind of flap, and she's got a tail, a long shepherd tail, but it curls. So she's fun. And then Lupin, so her name's Maddie. Lupin's my little guy. He's about 2.5 now. And he came from Ireland because my two daughters wanted to buy a dog, and we had to get him. There was only, I think, 3 different Pomsky breeders. So he's a Pomsky, which is a Pomeranian Husky cross. And there's only 3 Pomsky breeders that we could find, and the timing didn't work out for the Canadian or the US one. So we went for Ireland. So Lupin came from Ireland to join our family, and he's a fabulous little dog. So he's about 45 pounds, and Maddie's about 70 pounds. And they love each other. They just cracks me up how much they play with each other, and then Maddie will get fed up with Lupin and just go lie down, and he still goes, "Come on, Maddie, come on."
Well, we met them earlier, and thank you for allowing us to meet Maddie and Lupin. They are beautiful, both of them, adorable. And if they want to come on the show, if they wake up before we're done, you just let them hop up there, because we are a child and animal friendly show.
Perfect. Oh, I'm coming back on your show.
Yeah, it's about people and pets and experience. So, Sandy, so let me ask you a question. You talk about the legendary Bob Proctor.
Yeah.
So you obviously have you're very passionate. You have a deep passion for what you're doing. How did you get into this field, and how did you get into this field with Bob Proctor?
Well, that's a great question, and it's a story that I like to share, and I'm actually going to write a book about this story. Why? Because I think it's such a common story that people can resonate with. So let me, instead of being oblique, let me explain that. So my quick story: I was a physiotherapist in my first life. I call it my first life, for 6 years, sports and orthopedics, and I loved being a physio because I'm a real people person, and I'm a really good motivator. I connect with people and motivate. But I was in my 20s. I had to go back. I had to try something different. So I went back for an MBA and into corporate. Into multinational companies in Canada, in kind of field and in leadership at both the Royal Bank and at Deloitte Consulting. And I headed up recruiting for Canada at Deloitte, and had a child, came back and headed up HR for head office, and then stayed home for a while with kids. When my kids all went into school, I went back into corporate as a partner in an executive search firm. A boutique firm. And the only reason I'm talking about these leadership roles is because I experienced high-level success without trying hard at all. So I expected that of myself. Now, about 11 years ago, my youngest was diagnosed with type 1 diabetes and some other health issues related to that. So I went, okay, I need to be home-based. So I then started to look around at some things I could do from home. I did some small business ventures with some different friends of mine. I did some network marketing in there too. And because I had experienced high-level success in my hospital and corporate life, I expected high-level success as an entrepreneur. Thought I would hit it out of the park. No. To be honest, and I've said this numerous times and it's on my website, I sucked as an entrepreneur to begin with. And I got more and more frustrated going, what the hell's going on? Because I've always experienced success without even trying. And as I got more and more frustrated with that, I was feeling more and more back on my heels. My self-image took a hit. My confidence took a hit, which you never would have guessed would be my story if you'd known me prior to this. And, at my worst, I actually thought, I remember thinking, was I ever really successful, or was that just luck? That's not a good place to be. And when I started to struggle as that entrepreneur, I got more and more into personal development. I've always enjoyed personal development, but as an entrepreneur, it's all up to us as individuals. So I went, okay, I need to really, really dive deeper into personal development. And I started to follow Bob Proctor, John Maxwell, and Darren Hardy. Those were my three go-tos. Loved their stuff, was on their daily email stuff. And that helped. I got more motivated. I loved the concepts, but I didn't get a huge change in my results. And that's what I was looking for. And you know what? It's one of those things when the student is ready, the teacher's right there, because it was about 3.5 years ago now. And I had just finished off with a friend of mine. And I woke up one morning fretting because I didn't know what I was going to move on to. I still wanted to be home base. And my husband works, commutes downtown. And I thought, okay, should I go back to corporate? I don't think I can. I've been out so long and I didn't really want to anymore. But I thought, but I'm not that good as an entrepreneur. What the hell am I going to do? And that morning in came an email from the Proctor Gallagher Institute. I'd seen it numerous times. I just never bothered to look at it. And it was about being a coach working with Bob Proctor. And I kind of went, whoa, wait, what's this? And I clicked on it and they called me within a couple of hours. We talked about it and I invested in the opportunity of being a consultant with Bob. And from that day, it was first of all, it was a total turnaround because I made the decision for a change in the course of my life. I was all in, right? With the investment, I kind of went, how am I going to afford that? But I knew it was so right for me. And what I've learned since then is when you make that committed decision for something you really want, the universe conspires to make it happen for you. So I dove in and being immersed in this material, and I coach and teach people through Bob's powerful success system called Thinking into Results. So as a certified consultant, we move through that system obviously ourselves and understand how it all works, apply it to ourselves. And it was such a turnaround for my life. It was a game changer. It was a life changer in terms of the results I've gotten. And that's just built my passion for it. When I started to understand how powerful this information is, my mission, Laurie, my mission is to get this information in front of every single person on earth. And that's no exaggeration, because can you imagine a world where everyone starts to understand how powerful they are in terms of they have so much potential. They've barely begun to tap into it. They're capable of anything. If we just kind of get our subconscious programming stuff aligned with that anyone is capable of anything. We're all sitting on gold mines of talent. What a different world it would be. And I can share a story, because I'm not sure how we're doing on time, but I can share another story if we have time about what triggered this every person on earth vision of mine. But that's my story of how I got involved with Bob. And I've been so blessed. I'm now working the top 1% of coaches working with Bob and making and changing people's lives. So you talk about being grateful. It's a powerful sense of gratitude for where I am and what I'm able to do and share with people, and how I can learn from Bob. And yeah, there's a lot to be grateful for.
Well, Sandy, thank you so much. I love that you told us that story. I have a question. How much of what you're doing to share this information with the world, how much of it is persuading? How much of it is selling? How much of it is luck, as you talked about before? How do you see that?
So a lot of my effort, I'm just on such a mission to get this in front of people. Do I sell? Well, of course I sell to a certain extent, but in my opinion, the more I can ignite something in people, that they wake up and go, holy smokes, I can do more. I can do way more. There's the law of vibration in effect right there. You're on that. I'll get people on my frequency that go, oh, I got to work with you. That'll happen. It's getting people to be aware that there's a whole science behind, an exact science behind success and wealth creation, wealth in the broadest sense of the word, not just money, but in health and in relationships. There's a whole science behind that. And as people start to understand that, then I'll attract people who would like to work with me, which is great. So my biggest passion is to get, and that's why I'm so grateful to be on your show tonight, because my biggest passion is just to get this information out in front of people. So that's why I have 3 times a week in the morning my Facebook Lives. I'm just sharing powerful tips and tricks or wisdom from Bob, or Monday Morning Mojo I have to raise your vibration. What are the things you can do to raise your vibration? I do a reading club every morning now from Friday mornings, 8 to 8:30 Eastern. And we're reading and studying together a lot of the powerful material that has changed so many people's lives, like the science of getting rich, the Think and Grow Rich, the power of awareness, which is the one we're doing right now, psycho-cybernetics. There's no end to the material. So there's a lot of, and I have webinars that are for the public and seminars for the public. My mission is to get this information out there as much as possible. That answer your question? I went long on you.
No, Sandy, you're going to do that. No question. Laurie, do you, and I thank you for sharing that 100 times. I have so many more things I want to ask, but I know that I want to give Laurie an opportunity. Laurie, do you have a question for Sandy?
Yes, I have a question. So you talked earlier about going to Halliburton, I think it was, or something, a place to get away, right, to retreat. And so tell me a little bit like what you do when you get there. Like you said, when you get in the car, that just starts your relax mode. And then what do you do when you get there, and what kind of mode do you get in when you get there, and what kind of things do you work on?
Oh, it's such a great place. We're on the North Shore, which is delightful because it means the sun comes up in the morning across the water, which I call diamonds on the water. So it comes straight onto our shore. And the other beautiful thing is at night, the moon comes up and it comes across the water because it comes up in the southeast. So it's such a great place. So the whole environment of nature is powerful. That moon across the water goes straight through to my soul. Like I lock into it, and I used to, years ago, because I grew up there every summer, and I used to hop in my canoe at 10 or 11 o'clock at night when the full moon is across the water, and I would go out and I would have a book with me and my cup of tea or whatever, and I could read my book by moonlight, sitting out there in my canoe. Right. And you'd have the loons calling. So it's the nature, the aspect of nature is just so powerful. And nature is very grounding because it's a very healthy frequency. It's a very grounding frequency. So I love that. And we have a huge deck that's over the water. And we always have company up, which is whether it's my friend, my friends or my kids' friends coming up. We have a boat. We do lots of tubing and water skiing stuff. We have a huge screened-in room that we live in, so the bugs don't bother us. And we have a big bonfire pit where we have bonfires every night, and we're usually sitting around the bonfire with a glass of wine or a beer or a cup of tea or whatever. Music's usually playing. It's I love my cottage. That answer your question enough?
Yeah, that's awesome. That sounds so amazing.
You have to come.
I will be happy to come as long as it's summer.
Yeah, no, we close it down. It opens up May 24th weekend and it closes Thanksgiving weekend, which is Canadian Thanksgiving, which is mid-October.
So Laurie, if you come in June and that works out, Sandy, maybe we could, I know it doesn't compete with Ireland, Laurie. I understand it's Ireland or Texas. But if you come to Canada, then we can go and see beautiful Halliburton.
Yeah.
And, we'll make a plan. Even we can go up for the day.
Nah, stay over.
Yeah, okay. So we could go and stay overnight one night. Yeah. So think about that. Sandy, talk about persuading. There we go. I love that question. And speaking of good questions, thank you so much for sharing that with us, because I felt like I was on the water in a canoe, because I know what that feeling is like.
Me too. I was right there.
The cottages, but just you brought me right there. If I could turn back the hands of time, right, when we were younger. So thank you so much for that. But I would like to, speaking of questions, like to pass the show over to you for a few minutes. I'd like to give you the mic. I want to give you the torch, pass the torch to you to ask Laurie and I, of course, unrehearsed, any question that you'd like within reason, and let us know who the question is directed to and who you'd like to answer first.
Well, it's the same question for both of you. So I'll ask Laurie first, because I'm a major advocate for network marketing. I was in network marketing. I'm not currently. I will go back because multiple sources of income, that's the key to wealth. But in my network marketing days, that was in my struggle. I couldn't really figure out how to make network marketing work. And that's the case with a lot of people. I think the stats are 90 to 95% of people aren't making it in network marketing, but they can. It has nothing to do with talent. It has nothing to do with having, do you have what it takes? Yes, you do. It's just that subconscious programming, your beliefs and your self-image and your habits just aren't aligned. So, my question for you, Laurie, first is, what is your experience with network marketing? How are you making it work? You've succeeded. How are you making it work? How can you see making it work in an even bigger and better way so that more and more people can experience the success in network marketing? Because it's the best industry in the world.
Right. Yes, absolutely. So I own 5 different companies, and one of them is a distributorship in Send Out Cards, a network marketing company. That's the only direct sales company that I do. But yeah, so I'll tell you a couple stories. So one, I'll tell you a story of someone else. I actually just posted that the other day about a guy who was having to go away, and he knew he was having to go away, and he was going to be away from his family, his children, his wife, his children, everything for a long time. And so he only had like 30 days to make that difference. And he ended up calling 1,500 people, because this was back before social media, before emails, before any of that stuff. And he called 1,500 people to get 40 people on board. But that's what set the stone to go for when he was going to be gone and couldn't work the business, and it just worked itself. So that was his story, and he ended up becoming a $1 million earner in his company. And so, so for me, it was back in my early 20s, I did the Tupperware thing, and I didn't ever know that that was network marketing back then, or even know that word. But I just wanted the stuff for my kitchen, right? And if I shared it with some people, then I got more stuff for my kitchen. So that was the cool thing, right? And so that's kind of how I did it. And back in 1993, I started my web and graphics design and branding and marketing company. And in that, I always sent thank you cards. Thank you for talking to me. Thank you for doing business with me. Just for anything. My grandmother taught me back when I was like 5. She was like, you always write a thank you card. People don't have to give you gifts, so you thank them properly, or they might not ever do it again. And so I was just kind of raised that way. And so I just automatically started doing that in my business. And I would create thank you cards from Microsoft Greetings Workshop on my computer, and I would print them out. And so when Send Out Cards came along, it was like, wow, I don't have to print them. I don't have to, if my blue is running a little bit low, have to throw it away and go to the store and, change it out and all that. And so I just thought it was the greatest thing to be a tool in my business. And so that's what I did at the beginning. But I was, and I had no desire to be a distributor or referral partner at the beginning. But I still wanted, if I told somebody else about this cool tool, I wanted the referral fee, right? Why not, right? So that's kind of how I started out. And then I just shared it with people at the beginning, just a little bit here and there, because it was a cool tool that I loved to use. And, if it was helping me in my business, it might help you in whatever your business is too, right? And so, and that's all the old school sales books, they send thank you cards. And so that's kind of how I did it at the beginning. And then fast forward a couple years, my husband had back surgery that went bad, and he ended up leaving work. I ended up having to get a job, answering phones for a company, and literally from like 6 in the morning to almost midnight nonstop, just to have enough money so we didn't lose everything with all the medical bills and everything that we had. And in that time, I noticed 1 month I got a check for like $1,000, and then another month I got a check for like $1,500, and it kept going up. And I was like, maybe I should check out this send out cards thing, you know. And so I started making some phone calls and asking more about it. You know, how am I getting this money? Why am I getting this money? I mean, I knew I referred people, but like it just started hitting me, you know, with my web and graphics design and branding and marketing. If I'm putting my hands on your website, I'm making money. But if I'm not doing that stuff for you, it's, you know, I have a few residual things within there, like with people's hostings and things, but it's not that extravagant, right? And so, but I noticed that, so when I was not doing that as much, and my send out cards money was going up, but my web design money was going down because I wasn't working in that as much, I was like, hey, maybe I should look at this residual income thing. And so that's when I started paying attention more, and I just decided to be consistent. And I think that is the biggest thing for people is, you know, constantly being consistent. So it, you know, talking to people, following up, you know, signing people up, training them, all that's a part of it. But the biggest thing is, I think so many people talk to 1, 5, 10 people, and then they think they're going to magically make money, you know, where you need to be consistently talking to people. And, you know, like a lot of people ask me, like, how many hours do you work your business or whatever? And I can't really say. I live my life. But if I meet people, which I meet people all the time, I meet a couple hundred people a week with everything that I do, it always comes up because I use it as a tool in my business. And I'm always teaching and coaching other people how to enhance their business. So that's just one of the tools that I talk to them about, as well as emails and texting and social media and blogs and websites and all that stuff. So it just falls along with that as far as with my company. But I think that's still the key with any company, is just consistently talking to people. You know, I remember Jim Rohn said one day in one of his old cassette recordings, he would put 2 pennies in one pocket, and he was working like 2 or 3 jobs at the time, but for his side gig, he wouldn't go home till he had those 2 pennies in the other pocket. So he planned to talk to 2 people a day, but it was that consistency, you know, every single day talking to, you know, whatever your number is. And so I think that's where a lot of people fall short, is they, you know, they don't talk to 1 a week or 1 a day or 10 a day or whatever, you know, their number is.
Wow, that's so cool. You just, in your story, thank you, Laurie. In your story there, you touched on 2 key points. I call them the high C's of success. C. The first one being clarity. You got to get clear on what it is you want to go after, right? The second one is a committed decision. You've got to commit. So your story of that gentleman that, 1,500 phone calls, he just went, boom, I'm making it happen. He just committed to making it happen. The third one is connecting to the energy around you, universal energy, all the potential. When you understand you are much more than just you yourself, that connection's huge. The fourth one is, what did I say? Committed, consistency. Just you touched on consistency. And the fifth one, that is one of my favorites, is collaboration. Because my tagline on my email is "Together we thrive." And collaboration is powerful. Rah, you said, you know, we're better together. We're way better together. We are much stronger together. Together we truly do thrive. So that was neat, Laurie. Yeah, you two of the big C's there. They're massive. When you start to understand that, your world can change.
Awesome, Laurie. So Sandy, I just want to make sure I'm going to answer the question. You're talking about success in network marketing, correct?
Yeah. Yes.
Awesome. Is my audio okay? Do you have any feedback, or am I clear?
Sounds good.
Okay, awesome. So you made me think, Laurie, and that was great because you gave me a chance to think. My first experience with, and I didn't know it was network marketing at the time. So imagine this, I was 16. I was working in a medical doctor's office, thoracic and cardiovascular surgeons, and I was learning how to help with the administration of the office, but I was always interested in being a medical assistant. So I took a lot of non-matriculated courses to learn how to do things in that field. While I was in the medical centers, it dawned on me that I had all these people in one building every single day in my reach. So one day I thought, why don't I sell Avon? And why don't I do one thing with absolutely everyone? I found a product that was $1, and it was one of their most popular priced and, I guess, reviewed items. It was deodorant. And I went to everyone in that medical building because I ate lunch and there were a lot of people there. And I sold a $1 product to everyone. Well, Sandy, that one thing that I did gave me the real example of the power of one. Everyone bought a deodorant for $1. And I said, if you don't like it, I will take it and give you your $1 back. And in those days, because 16 was a long time ago, those packages would come to my house. I would have to take the bag, put it in the bag, take the receipt, staple the receipt, put the samples in, put a book in, and everybody who spent $1 got the same thing. So I learned very quickly that this one thing, which happens to be the theme of our convention, one thing, it was very powerful, and I was able to connect with people because I would say, I would like to show you this one thing, and I'd like to know if you would be willing to try it, and if you don't like it, I will give you your money back. Now, I didn't even care if I took it back because it was my own commitment to the belief of this deodorant. And the reason why I chose that is I used it and I liked it. And we wore white in the medical field. So when you wore white uniforms, you had to keep them white. And I guess unless, and I was also in the dental field, you can't perspire in anything white because it turns yellow. So I was on a mission for myself. And in finding that deodorant for myself, I said, look, oh my God, look at me. I'm really having success with it. So that was the reason I gave this problem, I gave the solution. And at 16, I learned very quickly. That was what I did very well. So in terms of what my success is and was from the very first day was to do one thing so that everybody could relate to it.
Very cool.
It wasn't that I had a superstar attitude or that I had a superstar script. I really had one thing that solved a problem for me, like Laurie said. Taking it into the here and now, I've been a greeting card person since I could remember. When I met my husband, I sent him greeting cards from New York to Canada, like $5 and $6 and $10 and $20 cards. And that was the way I communicated. I didn't know, send-out cards was not around at that time. I didn't know that we could actually do this digitally and then have something go in the mail. And when I learned about send-out cards, I was looking for an opportunity. And I had my previous careers behind me. I was retired from real estate, from coaching, from psychology, from exercise, nutrition, and I wanted something. And I saw send-out cards instantly as oh my God, this is something I love to do. It's the one thing. That was the whole concept. It's the one thing everybody can do once. And then it's up to them if they want yellow stains under their arm or if they want to send one card and go to the store and spend $10 and do all that again. It was up to them. So that was the theme for me. It still is. It's about the one thing.
That's so powerful. That's awesome.
Thank you. Thank you for allowing us to share that that story and to bring us back. You know, when you turn back time and you go back and you think about the positive reinforcement, you think about the things that, like you said, when you made that decision, and Laurie, you know, when you made the decision, when you go back to that, it does raise the vibration and it feels amazing. And Sandy, we could talk forever. I don't want to look at the clock or look at the time or have, but I know we need to do that. But what I would like to do is commit to following up with you, Laurie and I, having a follow-up conversation, because these conversations can lead to many wonderful things. And I would like to open the invitation to you to allow us to do that.
I would love that. Thank you for offering that, because I would love to take you up on that.
Okay, awesome. And I'd like to see if we can have Laurie come in June, and then we can take her and show her Halliburton, and then I'll make the connection. So you know what, Sandy? I'll make that face-to-face connection with you and Rita face-to-face.
Perfect. Thank you.
When do you go up to your country house next?
When do I go up next? We'll open it up the 4th weekend.
Okay, so I will set that up so that you can meet Rita, because she's got connections that I won't even talk to you about. But when it comes to the water and it comes to, I guess I should say, AT, like all these, I don't want to say too much because you'll just meet her. Okay, I won't say anything else. So you'll connect with her, and she
got me curious.
She'll definitely tell you about fun as well. So, and she happens to be in our business with us, but she's an awesome person. Oh my gosh, we meet so many wonderful people. So yeah, Rita, please watch this show and please meet Sandy. Okay, so with that note, on that note, I want to thank you so much for being a guest with us tonight, Sandy. I love learning about your story, and your passion is so deep and you're so driven. And the cause of why you went into that, and your family, and how you wanted to create that home-based business, and that's amazing. And when I hear someone say that they're going to go back into something and you want to know how it works, let Laurie and I talk to you about that. We do some trainings, and perhaps Laurie and I can create a specific training for exactly what you said when someone wants to go back into it. So we'll do that, and we'll share it with you directly. And if you want, we'll actually do a verbal training with you on that. What I mean by that is we'll share with you so you can have some of that like fresh right on the top of your head. What does it mean to go back into that field?
Perfect. Thank you. That would be awesome.
Awesome. We'll do that. Yes, definitely. We'd love to do that. Now, Laurie, if somebody's watching the show tonight and they say, oh, wait a minute, Sandy, if somebody wants to reach you, how do they reach you?
How do they reach me?
Yes.
If you just want to go to sandyrutherford.com, that's my personal website, and there's you can click on the link to be in contact with me, set up a free discovery session, whatever you like. Okay, awesome. And all of your information will be on our website as well. So thank you so much. And Laurie, the question I started to ask you was, what if somebody's watching the show tonight and says, I want to share my gratitude story. I want to do what Sandy's doing, or I want to be Sandy on the show, or I want to get into the business Sandy's in, or whatever they want to do. What happens if they want to get in touch with us and they want to take it to the next step? What do they do?
Yeah, absolutely. So go to our website, our Facebook page at facebook.com/gratitudegirls. And right there, you can click message and send us your story. And we will both read it and then get back with you to figure out with our schedules and our show hosts already when we can get you on the show. And so we do the show the 4th Tuesday night of every single month. And it's 9:30 Eastern, 8:30 Central, 7:30 Mountain, and 6:30 Pacific. So make sure to send us your story. We love to watch them and review them and read them, and then get with you to see when we can feature you on our show.
Yes, thank you so much, Sandy. Hang out after we go live, after we go off from being live. And Laurie, I am so looking forward. We have the next 6 months booked. So if you're looking to be on our show, it will be 6 months from now, but it goes fast. So come get in touch with us and let us hear your story, because Sandy, you know, right? Like you put it in the schedule and then somehow the universe just brings you right there. I want to thank you so much for being on our show. And Laurie, thank you for being my Gratitude Girls partner. My heart to you and to our audience. Thank you so much for watching us tonight and being with us this afternoon, this morning, whenever you're tuning in. And we will see you next month. Thank you so much.
Good night.
Thank you. Good night.